Look, we've all heard it 1,000 times. Hard work is the key to success. Roll up your sleeves. Put your nose to the grindstone. Just keep pushing. I've spent a good chunk of my life celebrating the folks who do just that. But here's something else I've noticed. Working hard isn't the only way to get things done. Sometimes working smart is what really separates the winners from the rest of the pack. And who are the masters of working smart? I'd argue it's the people we might unfairly call lazy. They're not avoiding work. They're allergic to wasting effort. I'm talking about the person who sees a mountain of tasks and doesn't just start climbing. They look for a tunnel. They look for a ski lift. They look for an easier path that gets them to the same destination with less sweat and fewer blisters. Society tells us this is a bad thing, that we should embrace the struggle. But what if that instinct to find an easier way isn't a character flaw? What if it's actually a hidden superpower? What if the lazy person's desire to avoid unnecessary labor is the very thing that drives innovation and efficiency for everyone? So let's flip the script for a minute. Let's set aside the old school notion that you have to be miserable and exhausted to be successful. Today we're going to explore the habits of these secretly brilliant, lazy winners. These are the folks who get more done by lunchtime than many people do all day. And then they have the afternoon to themselves. The first habit of a highly effective lazy person is a deep, instinctual love for the shortcut. Now, I don't mean cheating or cutting corners in a way that compromises quality. I'm talking about finding the most direct line from point A to point B. A typical hard worker might see a task and follow the instructions to the letter, even if those instructions are outdated or inefficient. They'll walk the long, winding path because that's the path they were shown. The smart, lazy person will immediately start looking for a better route. They ask themselves, what's the absolute fastest way to get this done without messing it up? In the office, someone learning keyboard shortcuts instead of clicking through menus. They save a few seconds here and there, but over the course of a day, a week, a year, those seconds add up to hours, even days, of reclaimed time. Here's a tough pill for the perfectionists to swallow. Sometimes, good enough is exactly what you need. The smart but lazy winner has an internal compass that tells them when a job is done. They don't get lost in the weeds chasing that last tiny 1% of perfection that nobody else will ever notice. They understand that pouring an extra 10 hours into a project to make it go from 99% great to 99.9% great is often a terrible return on investment. They get the job to the point where it delivers the required result, and then they move on. A hard worker might spend an entire day agonizing over the perfect font for a presentation that's only going to be seen by 3 people in an internal meeting. A lazy winner will pick a clean, professional font in 5 minutes, focus on making sure the content is solid, and then use the rest of the day for something more important. They know that their energy is better spent on tasks where the effort actually makes a difference. This next habit is a classic, and for good reason. It's called the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule, and it's the lazy winner's secret weapon. The idea is simple. Roughly 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. The flip side is true. You spend 80% of your time on tasks that only produce 20% of your results. A hard worker tries to do everything, while a smart worker, the lazy genius, finds the critical 20% and focuses there. Think about your job. You probably have a long to-do list, but aren't there 2 or 3 items that will really move the needle? The things your boss actually cares about, tasks that bring in revenue? The lazy winner spots that high-impact 20%. They do those first, with their best energy. One of the biggest traps hard workers fall into is the I'll just do it myself mentality. They think it's faster or better to handle everything alone. That mindset is a fast lane to burnout. The lazy winner has mastered delegation. Their time is their most valuable asset. They're happy to hand off tasks to others who can do them as well or better. This isn't dumping work on someone else. It's strategic allocation of resources. The key, letting go of your ego. Except you aren't the only one who can do the job. The lazy winner spots strengths in others. Sarah in accounting is a spreadsheet wizard. Ask her to handle the budget report. Their kid is great at organizing. Empower them to tackle the messy garage. They're placing the right people on the right tasks. Andrew Carnegie, here lies a man who knew how to enlist in his service better men than himself. He wasn't lazy, he was a master delegator. Start this week. Pick one task you don't have to do personally. Delegating is strong leadership and smart time management. If delegation is about getting other people to do the work, automation is about getting technology to do it. The lazy winner is always on the lookout for ways to set things up once and let them run forever. Why would you spend 10 minutes every month manually paying the same bills when you can set up autopay in 5 minutes and never think about it again? Why would you retype the same email response every day when you can create a template, when you can create a text shortcut? Every repetitive task is an opportunity for automation. This mindset is about building systems that work for you, even when you're not working. This can be high-tech or low-tech, setting up automatic bill payments, email filters that sort your inbox for you, subscription services that deliver your dog food every month. It's about taking recurring decisions and tasks off your plate so your brain doesn't have to waste energy on them. This frees up your mental bandwidth for more creative and important problems. The lazy person's goal is to think about a task once, solve it forever, and then reap the benefits. Famous innovators are often masters of this. Think about Henry Ford and the assembly line. He didn't invent the car, but he invented a system to build it with incredible efficiency. He automated the process. He broke down a complex job into small, repeatable, automated steps. This allowed him to produce cars faster and cheaper than anyone else. He didn't want his workers to work harder. He wanted the system to do the heavy lifting. You can start small with this. Identify one repetitive task you do every week. Maybe it's setting a recurring calendar reminder for taking out the trash. Maybe it's using a service to automatically back up your computer files. So, after looking at these habits, does lazy still sound like such a bad word? I don't think so. What we've been calling laziness is often just a deep-seated desire for efficiency. It's an allergy to wasted effort. The person who finds the shortcut, embraces good enough, focuses on the 80-20 rule, delegates effectively, automates everything, isn't avoiding work. They are mastering it. They're playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, thinking several moves ahead to conserve their most valuable resources, time and energy. The old model of success glorifies burnout, equates hours worked with value created. In today's world, people who get ahead produce the best results with the least friction. They accomplish more, not by working harder, but by working smarter. They have more time for their families, their hobbies, just plain thinking. They're less stressed and more in control. These habits aren't about becoming a slacker. They are about becoming a strategist in your own life. It's about being deliberate with how you spend your energy. Anyone can be busy. It's easy to fill your day with tasks and feel productive. But it takes real intelligence and discipline to step back, analyze the work that needs to be done, and find the smartest, most direct path to the finish line. That's not laziness. That's brilliance in disguise. It's about respecting your own effort. So the next time you feel that urge to find an easier way, don't dismiss it as a character flaw. Lean into it. Ask yourself if there's a shortcut, a system, or a person who can help. Challenge the idea that the longest road is the most noble one. Because at the end of the day, success isn't about how hard you worked. It's about what you accomplished. If you can get there with a little less sweat and a lot more cleverness, you're not lazy at all. You're a winner. First, master the art of the shortcut. Second, embrace the power of good enough. Third, focus on the critical 20% that delivers 80% of results. Fourth, delegate like a boss by empowering others. Fifth, automate everything you can to free your mental bandwidth. Sixth, think strategically about your energy allocation. And seventh, redefine laziness as intelligent efficiency. Remember, time and energy are finite resources. The lazy winner isn't unproductive. They're ruthlessly efficient. If you're willing to listen, you might just learn how to work a little less and accomplish a whole lot more. These aren't the habits of lazy people. These are the habits of winners who happen to be very, very smart about how they win.